Hey there guys, Zach here from WinBeta, and welcome to episode number 36 of the WinBeta podcast for the week of October 9th, 2015. With me is co-host Sean Michael. Hey there, Sean.
Hey there.
And this week we're going to be talking about the Windows 10 devices event that happened earlier this week. This is a podcast that's dedicated to that event, so any other news we've thrown out the window. Today we're just going to be talking about the awesome event that was the Windows 10 devices. So yeah, it's been a busy week only because of that one event, really. Microsoft unveiled a whole lot of new things and even surprised us, which is very rare these days. Usually when a company's ready to announce products, they've all leaked by the time the announcement comes along. But even though most of the products had leaked, we had one that didn't. Or kind of, sort of. Because me and you, Sean, we kind of talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I wish we had that video that we could just insert now where I don't want to say predicted, because I actually, I had no idea. I was just hoping and speculating.
You had no idea.
Ah.
No, I'm joking. Neither did I, or did I? You'll never know. But yeah, it was awesome, I think. And really annoyingly, my internet cut out just after the Surface Pro 4 announcement. So they were
right before the Surface Book.
Yeah, right before the Surface Book. It was like, well, okay. I was on Twitter, everyone was like, oh, the screen comes off. I was like, this is what, really? Okay. But yeah, we should probably dive into the actual news because it was quite packed.
I suppose. We could talk about Halo, or we could just chit chat about uni and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, Sean, what did you think of the event?
Yeah, I think the first thing we should probably talk about is the event itself before we get into the devices. I apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so if I sneeze in the middle of the podcast, I'm sorry. It's not intentional. I guess to make a long story short, I think this is the best keynote of the year by most people's reckoning. I think Microsoft was confident without being arrogant. They showed off things in a real-world example. So, for one example, they were showing off transfer speed, and instead of giving us a gigabit per second or whatever, they said, we have a 3 gigabyte file, we're going to transfer it on stage, and it just worked. And so they did a lot of when the Surface Book came out, instead of telling us about the hinge and how it's connected, he just held the laptop out like this, and it was just kind of hanging. Panos Panay was brilliant. I think Satya Nadella just kind of wrapped it up nicely. They did a really good job presenting. I think it's amazing that we were ever worried about Panos Panay's public speaking, because, I think he's one of their golden geese now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember when we had that conversation, Panos Panay, Terry Myerson, they're kind of not very powerful speakers. Well, Panos Panay was he's very passionate always. But Terry Myerson was really worried about it. Even Terry Myerson yesterday, he impressed with his speech, which I thought was pretty cool. He came out on stage all proud. Windows 10, 110 million installs, got all this lined up. Great news. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Microsoft is, I'm excited about Microsoft.
Yeah, no, I think that, we're admittedly, we're usually a little more pro Microsoft than some, and some people lean negatively, but I think this has been universally viewed as a positive experience and a good keynote. I think the devices are shining well. I think that the speakers are very polished. And a lot of people are talking about the attitude. Microsoft has this attitude, almost a swagger about them that you don't see in some keynotes. In fact, I read some article, I don't know who wrote it, I apologize, but they said, Apple keynotes are very surgical, but not very passionate. And this shows an excitement, which, you know what? If I was Panos Panay, today would be one of the most exciting days of the year. I know he's got a family and stuff, so things with his wife and kids is probably more important. But from a work perspective, this is one of the most important days of the year, if not the most important. And he's proud. These are his babies in terms of technology. And so he's going to walk and say, this is amazing, and we're going to show you why. And you say, wow, that's really nice. It's not like you invented sliced bread. It's just, I'm confident that these devices will blow you away. And a lot of them did. I think a lot of people were quite impressed.
I mean, the Lumia 950 XL has, what was it, water cooling or some kind?
Yeah.
Why? But it does. It has it, and it's like, okay. I don't
It's
think
a hybrid cooling. They basically took the design. We'll get into it more, but from the Surface, they're moving technology back and forth. We'll get into that as we go through specs.
I mean, the Surface Pro and I believe the Surface Book also have the same water cooling mechanism, right?
Right.
At least the higher end models do.
It sounds
Apparently, breaking news, guys. Apparently, the comments on the website are working again. So if you want to jump back there, you can.
Can you? You might need. I don't. I'm gonna. Can I mute my microphone?
Can you? I don't know. Maybe.
I think they're gone now. There's I don't. These people. I'm sorry. We got a lot of news. Don't drive a scooter like it's a motorcycle. It sounds like a weed whacker. It sounded like someone was cutting hedges outside my house. It's not a motorcycle. In any event, let's go on and talk about amazing
Let's
stuff.
talk about the Surface Book.
Yeah, exactly.
So Microsoft surprised everybody this week by unveiling the Surface Book, which is essentially a Surface laptop. The specs are, as one would expect, pretty powerful, pretty great. So, of course, the laptop will come with Windows 10 Pro and a 30-day office trial, which I think is kind of ridiculous. Like, come on.
30 whole days.
How much is the device? It starts at $1,499. $1,499. Give us Office with it, right? At least a year subscription.
I got Office for a year with the Lumia 640.
Microsoft.
Anyway.
The exterior looks like a Surface. It's a magnesium casing, silver color, and the physical buttons, of course, are a keyboard and power and volume. Dimensions are, well, the screen size is 13.5 inches, which is a lovely size for a laptop, I think. I always prefer 13.5 to 14-inch laptop sizes compared to 15 to 17. I know people love a 15-inch or a 17-inch laptop. I prefer the ones that you can carry around with ease, really.
I think 17.
There are 17-inch laptops, and they are pretty standard.
That's a monitor for some people.
That is it absolutely is. The display resolution is 3000 by 2000 with a PPI of 267, so a beautiful screen. Aspect ratio 3:2 with 10-point multi-touch. So, of course, since it's a Surface, it will always have touch. Battery life up to about 12 hours. The processors are 6th gen Intel Core i5 or i7 with either an Intel integrated HD graphics or a NVIDIA GeForce graphics processor, which is in the base of the device. Because for those who don't know, the Surface Book detaches just like you would expect a Surface to, because of course Surface is also a tablet. So I believe the dedicated GPU is in the base of the laptop, so when you plug it in, it hooks up and it works great like that. Memory 18 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, and you can have your standard SSD configurations. You can also have a terabyte storage as well, which is
quite impressive.
Yeah, it's a large amount. It took me a little bit of time to fill that up on a tablet because well, let's say it's a tablet, it's a laptop tablet, because I'm not going to be installing VMs. Actually, considering it's a Surface Book, you could probably do what you would normally do on a desktop.
Yeah, I think, if you got the highest end, if you got an Intel i7 with the NVIDIA, I think it's a custom-made NVIDIA GPU. I haven't read too much on the GPU itself, but you could run a ton on this. So I think people probably could fill up a terabyte, but that's still respectable. I mean, there was a point where they were shipping 64 gig models of Surfaces. So obviously when they bump up to a laptop, it's going to be bigger. So I think terabyte's good enough. And the rest of the specs are very impressive.
I'm actually, it's kind of amazing seeing this device, because when I first heard about it, I kind of didn't think it was going to be a thing. I was like, are you sure? This doesn't seem right. Really? And it comes off, are you sure? And I was like, yeah.
Well, we talked about what we wanted from a Surface, and we said, well, what about basically a laptop base where you attach a Surface? And they didn't quite do that. But it's understandable why. The way that this attaches, in fact, I have a GIF. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Call, share screen. See, this is Sean getting ready for broad. Look at that. So we got the Surface Pro, or the Surface Book itself here. There's the fulcrum hinge. That hinge is the reason why they can't, in my opinion, just take a Surface Pro 4 and then just attach it to why they can't just attach it to a laptop base. Because the wire lock hinge and how it works, you'd have to shove wire lock hinges into a Surface Pro 4, and some people are only going to use it as a Surface Pro 4. So it makes sense to me why these are two separate devices. But it's so attractive. The way they revealed it was great. I love the little, I mean, this is the thing. We like the presentation, right? The kind of give and take with the audience. And they show us a video of the Surface Book, and you're like, oh, okay. And then they go, oh, wait, hold on. Actually, when you go back and look, you may have missed something. I mean, obviously, and then they just added more to the video, and it pops off, and it can flip around. And I just love how visual this was. You said he holds it out, and it's hanging there like a real, I mean, you shouldn't do that with your laptop, but you can there, and it looks good. I'm amazed. If you look at some of these, the cutout around the bottom, around the trackpad, that's now almost massive. I mean, it's a really nice glass trackpad, right? It's got all these really high-end specs, the butterfly keys, just precision throughout the entire device. And you and I have talked about this a bit. This might not sell beautifully. I don't know how this is going to sell compared to the MacBook Pro. But for the people that want it, this is going to be a device they like.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to, as Satya Nadella says, you know, they transfer you from needing Windows to like loving Windows, and there's like another step somewhere in there. People who get this, this is a major step towards loving Windows, because this is a nice device, very attractive.
Yeah, but
except when it's closed.
Except that's exactly what I was going to say. Except when it's closed, because it doesn't close properly. I can't believe people aren't making a bigger deal about this. It doesn't close properly. It closes properly, but then the back of it stays open. Like, what is that about? And because the reason that happens is because of the hinge.
Right.
The hinge is the technology in the hinge. It apparently means that they have to give it a bit of space, and as it closes and bends, there's not enough to close all the way.
Yeah, I think it's understandable.
Just
I mean,
don't sit on your laptop if you buy one. Because that would just,
I'm sorry, say that again.
Don't sit on your laptop.
But if you're sitting on a $1,500 to $2,500,
sometimes you accidentally sit on it. It might be on the sofa and you don't know it's there. Doesn't have to be on purpose. Just don't do it.
I mean, it's not going to evenly distribute the weight. And I can see that, but like I said, I don't think there's a way around it right now.
That'll be the version 2, Surface Book 2.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Surface Book 2, maybe they'll change it. But yeah, it's a really impressive device. We had a poll this week. I don't know. We'll probably do just the polls at the end, rapid fire, I guess. But a lot of people want the Surface Book, but I'm kind of torn. If you handed me a blank check, I'm actually a little bit torn between the Surface Book and the Surface Pro 4.
Which is interesting, because if I was handed a check and was asked, you can get either the Surface Pro 4, the highest end model, or the Surface Book, the highest end model, I'd go for the Surface Book. You probably wouldn't.
No, I don't think so. Well, first of all, if either of us was handed a check, we'd probably be very confused, because no one uses those anymore. But it's not because I'm more impressed by the Surface Book in terms of technology and the precision and stuff, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not digging on it at all. I mean, it's a beautiful. Actually, I'm not. The aesthetics I'm not thrilled on, but the specs are beautiful and the innovation is wonderful. But I've gotten pretty used to the Surface form factor, where it's a tablet with the keyboard and the ports that you dock it there and that sort of thing. So, I mean, while the Surface Book does more and it's more powered, me personally, not for like some users, the most powerful program I'm ever going to use is Premiere Pro. That's just the highest program I'm going to use. And so I don't care if it can do that smoothly. I don't mind the other stuff. I'm sure the Surface Pro doesn't handle that as well as the Surface Book. But the new Surface Pro 4 is pretty impressive. In terms of specs, it runs a 6th gen Intel processor, 3 different options. You get the M3, i5, or i7 variants. The M3 one is slightly lighter, I believe, but not noticeably. We had someone do a hands-on with it. I think Oliver did a hands-on with it, and it was not very noticeable. You get 4, 8, or 16 gigabytes of RAM. They kept the physical dimensions this way, like for those who are on this, like the rectangular screen size, including the bezels, is the same. Or I think it's almost exactly the same, if not exactly the same. But the screen itself gets another 0.3 inches on it. It's got more ports. It's got, actually, it doesn't only. It's a full-size USB 3 port, and some of the other, just kind of like the Surface layout types of ports, that sort of thing. But it's improved, it's thinner, it's a little bit, it's faster. They compared this, they said it's 50% faster than the MacBook Air. They shoved in a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. And this is what I was talking about when I said they're taking these this tech from one thing and putting it into another. So you have the liquid cooling from the Surfaces, and they've put that into the flagship phones. They took the 5 megapixel front-facing camera that you're seeing pretty much standard in Lumia phones, and now they're putting that into the Surface. Which that's not, obviously it's not as great as it could be, but for a tablet, 5 megapixel front face, pretty good. Good enough for basic conversations, and I guess if you're taking selfies with your Surface, that's a thing. You ever see those people at events and they're like holding up like a giant tablet?
Yes.
I mean, a bit weird, but in any event, it's got better front facing because some of the old ones were not that great. So you're seeing this technology jump where the Xbox is affecting this, the tablets are affecting that, the phones are affecting this, and that's why they're under one umbrella. So the Surface Pro 4, I don't know how to describe it. It's not a revolutionary overturn, but it is a good improvement. It's faster, thinner, better.
I mean, we were saying this all along. The Surface Pro 4 wasn't going to be a dramatic change from the Surface Pro 3. The bigger screen is welcomed as a welcome change, but most of the things are under the hood. Windows Hello, all that good stuff. It's all pretty much under the hood changes, which is to be expected. Where the real news is with the actual keyboard. Or more precisely, the keyboard. What is it? The type cover? It's not just for the Surface Pro
I have
4.
the new type cover. I think I have it. Yeah, I have an image here ready for the type cover. It's a pretty attractive little piece of kit.
Yeah, they've made the keys. They've made them like slightly more spaced apart, so that it's kind of like feels more like a keyboard now.
Right. Yeah. So you can see that they've made this at the bottom. Can Nick see my screen? Right.
Yeah.
So you see this giant trackpad here at the bottom. They said 40% bigger.
Yeah.
And then they spaced out the keys, which makes it much more natural. And they're also quieter. It obviously still has the magnet hinge thing before to make it better, but it's significantly sturdier. We had, I want to say it was Oliver, who had the hands-on. He's very impressed with the keyboard. And that was probably one of the biggest physical changes that you're going to see. And so the keyboard's better, nicer, lighter. This picture here does not have it, but there are versions with the fingerprint scanner. That's because the Surface Pro 4 has facial recognition, right?
Yes.
So the new type cover with the fingerprint scanner is geared towards people who want fingerprint scanning with their Surface Pro 3, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. Inception. Let me stop that.
No, but here's something interesting about this whole fingerprint type cover is that they're only selling it in the US, right? I'm sure I read that somewhere.
Yeah, fingerprint type cover is US exclusive.
But why? Why
is anything US exclusive,
all
Zach?
across the globe would like to have a fingerprint scanner on their Surface Pro 3. It doesn't make sense. Funny. Microsoft, what are you doing? Less money for you. Do you not understand this concept?
Especially, and it's pretty, they're a little expensive. So as someone who already has a good Surface Pro 3 type cover is going to be buying $49?
Yeah, they're not cheap. But I mean,
they're over $100. And so, I don't understand. Microsoft seems to be getting better, but incrementally. Like they're opening
and only in the US.
Store in Australia next month. And they're shipping Surfaces to more areas. But
guess what? The Lumia 950 and 950 XL still coming soon in the UK.
Yeah, and I'm a little confused by they're there, and like I said, you can tell with the 950 and 950 XL and some of these devices, they are trying to send more to other countries, but for some reason they haven't just jumped ship entirely, which is a bit confusing to me.
It's kind of like they're throwing them off a balcony to other countries. Like, if you can have it, if they survive.
I like the term that some people use. They call them surface countries. So it's like countries where they sell the Surface have a certain standard of these devices are available. So, I mean, we'll get there. I wish it was quicker. I don't know why they just don't jump ship all the way, but at least to some country. I can understand if they said not every country in the world, but the big ones in terms of population and purchasing power.
It's also pretty interesting why the new type cover wasn't made for the Surface 3 either. I think it's quite interesting.
Well, different size, I guess.
Yeah, but they could have made one specifically for the Surface 3 with the fingerprint scanner. I mean, I don't think the size really matters.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll announce that when the Surface 4 is announced.
Yeah, that's probably what they're waiting for, keeping it in line.
We didn't mention the new pen. The pen it's different now. It looks relatively similar, but it's a bit heftier in the hand in terms of feel. I don't know if it actually weighs more, but The shape is a little different. Instead of being the perfectly round, it has like a flatter, almost concave side along it. And it's got over 1,000 pressure points, so it's good at drawing, inking. With drawing, we have a video of it drawing. It doesn't handle diagonals the way that you'd expect from something like this. But in terms of standard inking, looks really good. And it has something that a lot of people asked for, a way to attach to the surface without having to buy a little loop. It just magnets. There you go, right on there. Magnet attach. So, I got used to the Surface form factor. I think it's great. I think people are going to like both of these devices.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
You'd like a Surface Book, though, huh?
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd go for the Surface Book. Only because it's different and I've got a Surface 3.
Probably worth mentioning that we're giving away a Surface Book right now.
Oh, you know what? We should have done that. We are giving away a Surface Book.
We are giving away a Surface Book.
I believe anybody, as long as FedEx can deliver to you. We are giving away a Surface Book. So if you're interested in winning one, you can visit the website, winbeta.org. It's on the homepage, I imagine.
Well, it is usually the banner at the top.
Yeah.
But I think we're the banner on the top.
Yeah, we're the banner right now. So
eventually it'll switch back and it'll go there. So Surface Book, you can win it. It's like it's an i5 model. So yeah.
It's we'll announce the winner on October 26th, the day the Surface Book is released. So you should get the Surface Book a little bit after that. So pretty exciting. I wish I could enter.
I assume we cannot enter, though I did not read that on the page.
No, I'm pretty sure we cannot enter.
Well, what about our girlfriends?
If Leah won the Surface Book, I'm pretty sure eyebrows would be raised.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. If Leah won the Surface, I'm sure Ron would get mad.
So yes, if you want to win a Surface Book, enter our competition. You may get lucky. So good luck to everybody who enters.
Just to be clear, make sure you read the rules. There's rules about what you have to type and tweet and stuff. So make sure you read them.
You can't
bit more complicated.
You can't just come in and go, "Yeah, I want a Surface Book." You got to tell us why.
Thing that's fun about that. Let's just briefly. One of the things is you saying where you're from. I'm amazed by how many different countries we have readers from.
Guys, we're global.
I mean, it's there are over 1,500 comments on it right now, I think. And it's unbelievable how many different countries are represented. And then within countries, how many different states or provinces or areas are represented. Very impressive.
It's pretty cool. Yes, we should probably move on to the
flagships,
announcements of the Windows Phone flagships. Finally, after 2 years, we finally have
finally
Windows 10 Mobile or Windows Phone flagships, the Lumia 950 and the 950 XL. These flagships are, I'd say top of the range, really. Top of the range for their current time. They support... God damn it, this article doesn't have any specs. Where are the specs?
Man. I don't know.
We've been knocked off course now. God, really?
Talk about something else. I'll find them.
Let's talk about the screen sizes. So the Lumia 950 is a 5.2-inch QHD screen, and at the Lumia 950 XL is a 5.7-inch QHD screen. So the Lumia 950 XL is rather obviously a phablet, the same size as the 640 XL, which I'm holding in my hand. So here's my face and the phone next to it for comparison. Sizes may differ slightly, obviously, because they're two different devices, but the screen sizes are the same. The Lumia 950 and 950 XL, off the top of my head, micro SD card support up to 2 terabytes theoretically, 3 gigabytes of RAM, I believe. The Lumia 950, the smaller version, has a Snapdragon, is it hexacore? 808, and the 950 XL has a Snapdragon 810 octa-core, which is they're both top of the range. It's pretty high specs.
Yeah. So I have some of the specs up now. Sorry about that. It's in text. It's not bullet point form. There you go.
Read them out.
All right. So the regular 950, 5.2-inch screen. The pixel density very high, but it's 2560 by 1440, so very high. Both of these are well over 500 PPI, right? That's what it.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 gigabytes of RAM, very good. The cameras, they are 20 megapixel pure view cameras. They got, I believe, the 5th generation of image stabilization and capable of 4K video, which is great. They got 5 megapixel front-facing cameras. The 950's got a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. The 950 XL has a 3340 milliamp hour battery. And they both run Continuum, which is a feature that they had their wonderfully Fedora member of staff come out to introduce, which is very fun, and he's very lively, so that's very nice.
You know, actually, just something off the top of my head. They didn't really demo Windows 10 desktops. I don't think they demoed Windows 10 desktops at all.
They didn't demo a lot of things, honestly.
It was hardware. Oh no, I guess they sort of did, but on the surfaces. But that doesn't count. Like they didn't demo any Threshold 2 stuff, which is interesting because I would have thought they were going to, or at least announce a date for the release of Threshold 2. They didn't say nothing about it. Didn't even acknowledge its existence, which is
they basically said hardware only. I mean, they didn't talk about software. In fact, some people pointed out they didn't show tablet mode off on the Surface Pro.
Not at all. They just had it all on desktop, even in
it was
mode.
Desktop mode there. And then they didn't show off a lot of this. And then the Lumia 540 was like a hiccup. It was like, that's a thing.
Oh, it was the 550, not the 540. Oh yeah,
550 exists.
At the end of the really awesome Lumia 950 demo, it was like, oh, and by the way, we have a 550. Check that out if you want. Moving on.
That's like the 550, and honestly, I think the 550 would be a fine device. But it's kind of like these actor families where like 2 or 3 members of the family are just like gorgeous, and then there's like sibling Z who's not, or Z that's like not as attractive as the siblings, and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're nice, but your sister and brother are supermodels.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's pretty funny.
but I think-
I'll probably buy one of them as well, the 550.
Probably a great, little device. Let's go through 950, 950 XL. I thought it was very interesting. They basically presented these, one, rather quickly, in my opinion. I think they knew that most of us knew the specs already, and that we can look up numbers later. And then 2, they presented them almost as, well, they said a family of devices. And they just presented them almost together. It's like this one's octa-core, this one's hexa-core. Okay, they're phones. This one does this one does that. And then they showed off Continuum. I thought that was very interesting that they didn't with the Surface Book, they unveiled just the Surface Book. And they talk about the Surface Book itself. But with these 2 phones, they were presented next to each other, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, I guess that might be for time.
Yeah,
Because,
time.
I mean,
and then they're not
Panasonic
that
was
different
at
in
the end
terms
of
of a few,
the-
other than a few numbers that they could easily spout off.
Yeah, I guess.
Octa-core, not.
I've just noticed something. You know how Microsoft doesn't have these devices up for pre-order in the UK yet on the official Microsoft Store website?
Right.
On unlockedmobiles.com, these devices are up for pre-order and they're cheaper by like £20 or £10. Yeah, £20.
That's not as surprising as you might think. I mean, we've seen that type of thing before.
Like from Microsoft, it's $549. From Unlocked Mobiles, it's $529. And
Right.
you can pre-order it now. Why? Microsoft, what are you doing?
No, I don't know. Yeah, I guess they'll.
Microsoft are like, we're going to charge you more, and we're also going to make you wait longer. 1010 service, and they use UPS, which is just, if you can avoid UPS, avoid them at all costs.
See, we're using FedEx for our prize, not
Yes,
UPS.
we're not using UPS. I would have told.
Was that you're doing?
I would, if Ron was to say that they were going to use UPS, I would have told him, terrible idea. Terrible idea. But yes, is that everything for the 950 XL?
No, a couple other things here. Microsoft is shifting away from. They used to make, so these phones have removable backs. They also have removable batteries, which we didn't mention, but it's kind of all goes together when you have these things like that. So you have removable backs similar to like the 640 and the 640 XL, but as opposed to Microsoft making these, you're going to have third-party, like official partners. I assume, just by like guessing, there will probably be some unofficial partners who make them too. But there are official partners that are going to be releasing cases for these.
You know what? I can bet these official partners operate in the US only.
Actually, both of them are from countries outside the US. I think they're both Scandinavian, actually. So they're both in that band of, I think one in Denmark. I'm not sure. I don't know the details. But so let me go through here. I guess to be clear, case is probably the wrong word, because when you think of a case, like I have a Lumia 930 here. The case adds bulk this way around the edges and this way in terms of thickness, especially because it has a plastic hard back on it. So this is a pretty hefty addition. If you held this up next to another 930, you would notice a difference because of the case. That's not true, or it's not the case, pun intended, with the new phones. It's a back where the entire back is removable, including the sides. It's just the entire back and really the sides. So you just have the phone components. Shove a new back on there, and I have to say, these are so attractive. In fact, they're so attractive that in many of our lead images, that we're using for articles are of the custom cases, even though those aren't made by Microsoft. Let me pull one up here. Okay, that's going to be ready. Mozo is one of the companies that's doing this. And this right here, you can see some people were really upset that the Lumia 950 and 950 XL were polycarbonate instead of metal. This is an officially licensed back made by another company. It's got a metal band around the edge, really nice metal finish around this camera on the 950 XL, and then it's got a black leather back. And this from Mozo Accessories. It's finished. There you go. And then there's other ones like this is a white leather back. I believe it's leather with a metal band around it as well. I think you can see it comes here in red. I don't know who would get this one, but if you want, here's the blue. Some people like that blue that was like in the renders.
Yeah.
So here's a blue one from Mozo as well. And so you get some of these, devices, and you say, oh, what color do I want? I don't know if I like the look. Polycarbonate's not my thing. This doesn't look cheesy to me. It doesn't look like someone shoved a case on a phone. It looks like the phone has built-in metal sides and a leather back.
You know what? When I first saw this idea, I kind of thought, well, I mean, because I thought they were actually cases that go over the actual thingy. But then I realized, of course, the back comes off of the 950, so these can actually be molded to the 950 to be just a replacement of that polycarbonate. So that does mean that you can technically have a 950 and a 950 XL with aluminium sides. So I think if I'm getting the 950 XL, I think if I'm getting that, I'm going to have one of these third-party cases, because I'm not too pleased with the whole plastic back that they're shipping with it. Really, I'm not a fan of it. I would much prefer something like the 930 with its its nice metal sides, and I don't mind the polycarbonate back on the 930 because it's complemented by the sides, obviously. But with the all plastic 640 XL, I imagine it doesn't feel great, and I'm pretty sure.
Right. But here's the thing. Some of these phones come out. I think LG came out with a phone recently that had a leather back on it. And it looked, honestly, if you like leather on your phones, it's really nice looking. It's got really premium stitching, and it looks wonderful. I think it's the LG. I think it's the Lancet. I'm not positive, though. I don't follow that as much as the Microsoft ones. Maybe when the commenters can correct me on that. But leather phone. Okay, great. Well, what if you really like the specs of that phone, but you don't like leather? Either the look, or some people don't purchase leather. Maybe, they're against leather as a material, whatever. You're never going to buy that phone. But this gives you the option. You can have leather back. You can have the polycarbonate one that comes with it. I hope, though this hasn't been announced yet, I hope somebody shoves in a kickstand case. Why not? Or back. If you can build your own back, why not shove one in there with a kickstand?
Why not have... Because this is the thing that was done with the 820. I had the Lumia 820 when that first came out, and there was a third-party case manufacturer who also manufactured a battery. But the battery was bigger than the one that came with the 820. So you could have, if you bought the case and the battery, the case was thicker, so it made the device considerably more thick, but it also gave you more battery. Like the battery lasted like 2 days on with medium to heavy usage with this huge battery, which I thought was quite cool. I had that for a little while, but since it was like a third-party battery, it I didn't use it for too long just in case problems arose. But yeah, but technically with this whole concept with the 950 and 950 XL, that's possible.
Yeah, not only that's possible, but there's another company out. They have one that's like a wallet case, and because it's not adding as much thickness, because it's not it's a back. It's a wallet back. I guess I have to get used to that. It doesn't add as much width. Obviously, there's some because there's a flap over the top. But people could have the flip cover. That's what I mean. You could have a back that doesn't add any bulk and it just has a cover. This is a good idea for Microsoft. They're licensing out and saying, you want to be creative? Great. You want to make money? Use it. People, you customize this. If there's, if there's ever a stylus on a phone like this, whether this one or the next generation, people could make their custom ones that hold styli, whatever. So I think it's good. And another benefit of this is a lot of these cases, though I don't think it's all, I think some actually unfortunately do, but a lot of the cases don't ruin key charging. Yeah. So some of them work with wireless charging, which is a big benefit because sometimes that might be an issue. So it's nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited for these devices. Very excited. I'm definitely going to pre-order a 950 XL when Microsoft lets me.
Hey, and if not, Shawn Michaels' delivery from the U.S. service is. I am going there for Christmas. We're booking flights this weekend, so I get you band 2. Just pay me in advance. I'll come over.
I've already pre-ordered my band 2.
There you go. That's before we get into that. I don't want to touch on this too much because honestly, the story's still developing. Someone asked, what do we feel about all the carrier stuff with the 950 and 950 XL? First, people said exclusive, then it wasn't exclusive, then it was this, then it was that. They're selling them unlocked. AT&T selling them. I think it's still developing. I'm not thrilled. I wish it was everyone, but I think there's more to that story coming out. We'll get more details.
Microsoft has said that they've come out now and they have said that they decided to just go with AT&T.
Right.
And other carriers were interested, and they kind of shut them off and said, right, we're going with AT&T first. We will come back to these other carriers later down the line, which I think is a stupid idea.
Yeah, I don't
Have
understand.
it on everywhere on day one. You're going to get... No one's going to be interested down the line. There's going to be the Surface phone or the iPhone 7 or the Galaxy Nexus 500 or whatever it is. It's like no one's going to be interested down the line.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I agree. You can have the carriers take the onus of advertising. In fact, Verizon does advertising for the iPhone. The Sprint, they say now Verizon has an ad. It's like, you have the best iPhone, you should have the best network. So, anyway, I think that's still developing on what's going to happen. I think you and I agree, but we're also running out of time, so we should probably move on.
Hey, we can go over a bit. It's the special, remember?
I guess. Well, we can do whatever we want. It's our podcast. We do live streaming 24/7.
Yeah, you know what? People want a 24-hour live stream podcast or live stream. But
that's what the poll said.
You did a poll?
I did, yeah. At one point, I think I jokingly did how long should the podcast be?
Forever.
3 of the options were like realistic, and then the 4th one was 24/7, and that one actually got some votes.
People do want a 24-hour podcast. We'd have to think of something to do.
I'm gonna die if we went 2 hours today, though. I'm pretty sick, honestly.
Not today, but we'll have to plan it in advance.
Yeah,
we'll have to do it for a certain reason.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Band 2, if that's okay.
Yes, let's move on.
All right. So the Microsoft Band 2 was announced. I said today I get a few advantages being sick. I get a cool smooth jazz voice, which during the after party I'll be showing off. But my voice also might crack like a 15-year-old. Sorry. The Microsoft Band 2, which oddly they didn't use the phrase Band 2 for I don't think the entire keynote, but eventually they started calling it that, I guess. It looks nice. We initially kind of slammed it. Sorry.
Yeah, but then again, we slammed the renders of the Lumia 950.
I slammed the renders because we filmed it after the whole episode. I was just doing quick. And honestly, probably not my honest opinion. I just did it quick and then realized I made a mistake. But in any event, the Band 2 looks quite nice. I'm not going to show the video. The Band 2 looks very nice. It's thinner. They added a barometer so it can do things like elevation. They made it durable screen. That was one of the issues with the screen on the Band 1 was that it would scratch easily. Now it's Corning Gorilla Glass 3.
Hooray!
It's more touch responsive, and probably most importantly, this whole thing is just sleeker. It's curved. It's got a curved screen. They moved where the battery is, so the bulk isn't on the sides. It's kind of top and bottom, which is kind of bottom and top because you wear it kind of backwards. But in any event, it looks really nice. It looks much sleeker than the first one. I think that it looks to be a big improvement. It's listed at $249, and it's actually being sold and shipped in other countries, including the UK. You said you already had yours pre-ordered.
Hooray! Yes, weirdly, the only thing, and the Surface devices actually, but they've got them up for pre-order, and the Band 2, just not the phones. Don't know why, but yeah. So I pre-ordered my Band 2. Interestingly, the sizes are slightly different. The sizes incorporate a wider, a broader amount of people now, a broader amount even. So like with the original Band, I had a medium size. I fit a medium perfectly. It doesn't move. It's comfortable. But with the new Band, I fit a small quite comfortably. I did the size measurement, and
there you go.
I was gonna go for a medium, but then they were like, "Well, you should probably get a small because of the sizing." I was like,
How do they do that? They make you print it on like A4 paper.
Yeah, and then they make it. You wrap it around. I think it's here actually. Yes, it's here. So look, they print it out on paper, and as you can see, you wrap it around your wrist, which I'm gonna try and do here. Like that. Hang on. It's a bit difficult to do. And then you get the arrow, and then you you'd make it tight so it's there, and whichever size it's pointing on, that's the size you get. So you can see there, mine's pointing at small, so I should get a small, and that's what I did.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I think this device looks better. It's not like the Surface Book where it's revolutionizing anything. It's just, honestly, it's a V2 device. That makes sense.
Yes.
V1's kind of, what can we do? How it doesn't matter how big it is or what other things. What can it do? And how can we get it to work? And do people like the concept? Then V2 comes out and it's much more refined. That makes sense. You know, it's pretty standard for this. The Band 1 was kind of a prototype device anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. The barometer's kind of cool.
Are you getting one?
I might. I don't know. A lot of expensive.
Well, if you're still interested in the Band 1, once I get the Band 2, I'll send it to you.
If I was going to get one of these devices, I would get a Band 2 because I could. It's the most affordable of these, and I already have other computers and phones that work. But I don't know. We'll see. I would like to try one out. I'll probably try one on in the Microsoft Store when I'm in the States and see how much it sways me.
Right.
And we'll hear your reviews and everybody else's. Yeah, so there's that. Band 2. Anything else about the Band 2?
Did we announce the price?
$249.
$249, which is £199 in the UK.
Which I could flip a profit, though I don't know if that's legal or ethical. But I could do zero. I could just save people money. Because with the conversion rate, it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, I mean that's always the case with the US to UK conversion.
Yeah, I could just get like a suitcase full of Microsoft Band 2s, and then sell them for like, just no profit, just save people money and be a good guy.
Good guy, Sean.
There
Let's
you
talk
go.
about HoloLens.
HoloLens is amazing, yeah.
HoloLens was present at the Devices event, and although they didn't really show off the hardware, they showed off more awesome things HoloLens can do. So they showed off a game called Project X-Ray, which is a virtual reality kind of shooter in which I imagine you have to buy the thing that they were holding, but it allows you to... The HoloLens has the ability for you to hold holograms with certain objects. So you have like an object, you hold it, and HoloLens can map a hologram around that. So you could be holding something, so for example a gun, and then HoloLens can render that a gun in holographic form, and you can be holding it and whatever else. And with this whole demo they did, there's like robots climbing out of walls in your room, and you can shoot them with the gun you're holding, and like it's pretty cool. And I jokingly said on Twitter, this would also be known as Heart Attack Simulator 2016 because of the music and like the scary sounds, the screaming, and the breaking.
Surround sound.
Yes, surround sound. They did say that, and like it's just chaos ensuing in your living room. It's going to be pretty cool, especially like when a life-size gigantic spider crawls out of your wall and tries to kill you. I wonder how you die in that game.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's probably just to show it off.
You know what? I'd be glad if they didn't actually like give that out as a thing.
Well, that might be a thing, but it's certainly not going to be the best game on it.
Oh no, yeah, but it's still a.
Look, you're going to play Halo in a laser tag room where everybody wears HoloLenses, and it's going to start interacting. This is going to happen, Zach. I'm telling you. You'll play with a HoloLens, and they'll have a HoloLens, and you'll play like Halo, except to be paintball, but with Halo holograms.
Yeah. They also announced, what did they announce? Developers applications. So now, if you're a developer and you're interested in developing for the HoloLens, you can now send Microsoft an application and buy the HoloLens for $3,000. I kid you not.
Which, I mean, as a developer and stuff, obviously that price is not even, I don't even think it's going to be correlated to what it finally is.
Yeah, I think the consumer product, I would hope, is considerably less in price. I'd hope, I mean... Might be a big ask, but sub $1,000 maybe for the consumer.
I don't know. It's so hard. This is like
otherwise it will fail. Nobody will buy it. No matter how fantastic it is, nobody's going to buy it.
I guess I would be okay if they had like HoloLens 1. They basically say it's a prototype, and they sell it for a lot. But it's got to come down. It's got to come down in price eventually. Yeah. But it's understandable. This is a device no one has ever made before. It's got things in it that no one's ever used before. So I hope that it comes down. But yeah, I don't think that 3,000 is anything close to what it will really be. It certainly isn't correlated to what the final price will be, I don't think.
It's very interesting. Many people are looking at the HoloLens for different needs. Like some of them are looking at it for gaming. Some of them are looking at it for like doctor needs or engineering. I'm looking at it as more as a product just to enhance my day-to-day life. Like how they demoed having a telly on the wall or having like the weather on a coffee table. That's how I'm going to use the Surface. I'm just going to like have a virtual dog or a cat just walking around, being annoying, and like I'm just going to enhance my life with the HoloLens. I'm not going to be like, maybe, I mean, of course, I'll take advantage of any gaming opportunities that arise with it, but I'm not going to be there like, right, let's do some maths with the HoloLens, or let's do that. I would also 100% take advantage of the extended screen thing that they've demoed, in which I don't think they've demoed this publicly, but it does do it. What you can do if you're sitting at a Windows 10 PC with HoloLens on, you can grab a window or you just use your mouse and you can move your mouse off the screen and into the real world, and you can have like your windows everywhere, and it's like, that's just awesome. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, well, I think HoloLens is probably one of those devices that, I don't want to say it's limitless because that's hyperbolic. It's expansive because there's gaming, there's instructions, there's augmented reality just for your everyday life, and there's all sorts of things with these holdable things. What if they create a glove that you wear that it senses, so when you play Minecraft, it's actually like you're picking up pieces with your hand? And this is the sort of things that you could work into it in the future. And so obviously the biggest announcements were these other things, but I like that they touched on HoloLens. It's an exciting piece of kit.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to the I wonder how you die in games with HoloLens. I would like to think when you have the HoloLens on, there's like shock, like a short taser to your head and just collapse. And oh god, that's terrible.
Well, maybe if they make a military training version, they'll do that. But I don't think they'll be electrocuted.
Just a quick taser to your head. It makes you fall to the ground. It's realistic. You feel terrible after, but it's it's realistic. It's the HoloLens.
It sounds to me like you kind of just want, what was that movie, Surrogate? You just want the HoloLens to make that.
You know what? I'm joking. No, Microsoft did not implement that feature.
Don't use tasers.
Don't use tasers. Terrible idea.
So there you go. But yeah, HoloLens, etc.
Yeah, exciting. $3,000. Go buy one. Right. So poll time.
Poll time. Yeah, we got lots of polls here. All right, so we did a bit of a poll-a-palooza this week with lots of different devices. First up, I just asked, I'm just going to go through these pretty quick because we already talked about the devices. Which Surface device are you most interested in? Got almost 1,000 votes. Pretty even split compared to what some might expect. 65% Surface Book, 35% Surface Pro 4, which is not as one-sided as I thought it might be. Next up, which Lumia do you want the most? And the 950 XL won 56%. The 950 regular got 38% of the vote. And amazingly, 6% of voters said the Lumia 550. Probably because it's a solid budget device, probably more affordable for them.
Yeah.
And for anyone, really. Those are the
a good Christmas gift.
Yeah, be good. Here we go. Next up, this is like our rapid fire for the week. Which other device do you want the most? This is kind of like because there were accessories and things. I guess we can discuss those to wrap up the show. But, that's a bit odd to kind of cut off what the options are. So, yeah, new Surface type cover, the new Microsoft Band, the Surface dock, or the Continuum dock for the Lumia flagship. The winner is the new Microsoft Band at 45%, which I thought was quite impressive. Next up is the Continuum dock for the flagship phones, followed by the new Surface type cover, and then the Surface dock. 45, 35, 15-8 split. So the big kahunas are the Band and the Continuum dock there. And then finishing out the polls, which gaming announcement are you most excited about? Because they tried to hype up gaming a bit, though understandably they focused on hardware. Mixed reality gaming, landslide, 58% of the votes, though less people voted. As they went down the article, less people voted. It's like they didn't want to keep scrolling.
People are lazy.
Yeah, well, whatever. Next up is the new Xbox One Experience, 21%. Backwards compatibility with the 360 is 13%. And then the upcoming slate of games is 8%, which is odd. You only 8%, and that's included like Halo 5 and everything. Less exciting than other stuff. But understandably less exciting than mixed reality gaming in your house. So I can believe that. Maybe we should talk about the accessories real quick before we close.
Yeah, sure.
The dock's changed.
For what?
Remember like the Surface dock, you used to like drop your Surface?
Yeah.
Now it's like a plug-in, more portable box thing, and so is the 950 dock. So they actually look relatively similar, even though they're for different devices.
Yeah, the Continuum dock, which was officially announced, will enable Continuum for the new flagships, which is great. It has like a HDMI out and DPI. Is it DPI? DPI. Yeah, it's just got loads of good different ports on it. It's great.
So here's a question for you.
DisplayPort out, DPI. Why does it get DPI for?
If they made the next Surface run on Type-C, USB Type-C, could they just have one dock?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah,
well,
I guess maybe. Well, I guess...
Well, because if the purpose of the dock is that you connect on one end, and then you can have things plugged in like a wired keyboard and mouse, HDMI or VGA or whatever, and then it just works that way, I would think that once they switch the Surface over to Type-C, you could just sell one, and it'd just be called the Continuum dock for Surface and Lumia or something like that.
But guess what? Microsoft want to make money.
I don't know. I mean, I know why. At least I think I know why they kept the Surface where it was with the ports, and it's because they told people that the Surface docking station was going to work for the future of devices, and they don't want to upset enterprises who went and bought 500 of these things, replacing desktops around their businesses.
Yeah.
So now you can, they work with those I even think there's an extender that allows them to work with the old-fashioned dock. I think that's true. Yes. I'm not positive, but I think that's true. So, they don't want to upset them, but I think eventually, after like 2 or 3 generations, I think Microsoft could probably say something like, yeah, I know we said that, but it's now been 3 Surfaces since that. We're going to change it. And once it's like 3, I don't think people will be that upset. But if it was the next one, people say, look, you said this was going to last. So, yeah, I can understand them waiting a bit. So, yeah, there we go.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, Sean. Anything else to add before we sign off?
I was really impressed. I think we already said that.
Yeah,
but
I think it lays a positive future for Microsoft into 2016. I mean,
on the one note I closed, I said, where does Microsoft stand now? Do you think that this changes or indicates a change in Microsoft?
Yeah, I think people are taking Microsoft a lot more seriously now. I mean, even like the Apple heads, the iSheep were like, oh, wow, some of the stuff they announced was pretty good, I have to admit. So, yeah, I think everybody's starting to take Microsoft a little bit more seriously again with their idea. I mean, because for the last few years, it's been like, oh, Microsoft, worst company ever. Windows sucks, Windows Phone. But I think maybe this might be a turning point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that how they presented is true. How they went about developing these devices indicates a change. I think it's so smart now that they combined all the Microsoft devices under Panos Panay. Yeah. Because you're starting to see his touch. Like I said, you're seeing things jump from all the different branches. And that's what it should be. Microsoft owns and makes an operating system, phones, tablets, laptops, gaming consoles, exercise. They should have technology that jumps between them. They shouldn't be like separate branches of this tree. I mean, I guess branches of a tree might work, but they shouldn't be separate completely.
You know what I'd really like? Because Panos Panay said recently he wants like his hardware designs to be consistent across products. So I imagine this means a Surface phone's around the corner, and if rumors are correct, this will be a thing next year. So a Surface phone that looks like a Surface tablet. But what about an Xbox that looks like that uses the same Surface design?
That's your thing, man. You basically want a Wii U controller, but for the Xbox.
No, I would like an actual console, Xbox One console, but designed with like the Surface design in mind. So silver. With the
you want like a magnesium Xbox? Okay, yeah, I can see that. I think that we'll start seeing there's some separation that's still gonna be there. Apparently, Phil Spencer has said like he doesn't think you're gonna see Office running on an Xbox, but there is an App Store now, so maybe that
will be. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I see why you'd say it's not really coming. There's no
right, and that's what I mean. Is some of these are going to be a little separate, but I do think, especially if they're under the same device family under Panos Panay, you're going to see these things cross over. You're going to see the design, and he said that he wants them to have the similar look and feel is the theme behind some of his comments. So yeah, I would hope that means that the Surface phone, if it, assuming that that's a thing that will happen, is going to look like a Surface. I would hope so. I can't imagine you would call it a Surface phone and have it look something different, right? I mean, that wouldn't make any sense.
The not Surface phone.
Yeah, I say the Surface phone. I mean, in function, it could be a Surface phone anyway, but I would think that they'd look the same.
With the 950 and 950 XL with the removable covers, I wouldn't be surprised if a third-party company came out with a Surface-like back for it to make it look.
I want a kickstand. If they put in landscape mode on your phone, which Gabe Ole has teased about. And then it supports mouse and keyboard support. I think it'd be great if you had a 570, a 5.7 inch phone, a 950 XL, landscape it, kickstand, and then you use your mouse and keyboard, and it's just like screen, Surface, 950 XL. It's great. Everything.
I mean, the whole landscape idea is almost there anyway, but it's not on the start screen, but it is within apps. Like some apps have.
Which is why the start screen should just be landscape.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would take much just to turn the icons 90 degrees, right?
Nope, I wouldn't think so. They should do that, like today. But anyway, we don't want to get this. Stick around for the after party, and we'll keep writing. I got a whole rant ready about Apple fans, but that doesn't really fit into this at all. So we're going to put that into the after show. And if you want more rants and things like that, and other things, including pictures of Sean the sheep having my head and ducks, which is not very tech related, tune into the after party. But we try to keep this tech related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a tech podcast.
So with that, we should probably end. So thanks so much for listening to the podcast, everybody. This has been episode 36 for the week of October 9th. Sean Michael, one of our co-hosts. You can find him on Twitter at
Sean_Michael_UK.
And you can find me, Zach Bowden, on Twitter at ZachB_. You can follow WinBeta at winbeta.org, DOTORG, on Facebook /winbeta.org, just a normal dot this time. You can Google us on Google+. Subscribe to us on Facebook if you haven't, youtube.com /winbetatv, and all of that good stuff. So thanks so much for listening and watching, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.